has created is still there for him, which is absolutely amazing. So we're going to hear a little bit from Dave. I'm going to pin the video. If you know Dave, then you know what to expect. If you don't know Dave, then you're going to be very excited because this guy's got a lot of energy and he's going to rock the house here. So let me pin it to Dave. There you are. All right, man. The floor is yours.
Thank you, sir. Okay. It's finally, I was going to ask you if we were streaming, but I couldn't see it. I was going to pay attention to the Facebook group just in case we get some comments in there, but we're good. Well, thank you everybody for showing up. I appreciate it. I appreciate your time. It's important, it really is. So I just want to start with gratitude and I'm going to end with gratitude. So my name's Dave Wilkinson. I'm from Missouri in the United States. I don't know how, can I get a show of hands? How many people are from Canada here? Okay. So well, most of you, that's cool. Missouri's in the middle of the country. And so I'll give you guys my whole story because I think it's really, really powerful and important for everybody to understand and get some context, especially if you feel after being in this for a little bit, like you might not fit in or, you know, like you're not like those other people that are winning, you know, you don't look like them, you don't act like them, you don't speak like them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I was born and raised here in Missouri, Southern Missouri on a dairy farm, pretty much like literally a dairy farm, running around in the cow shit and throwing hay and doing all the stuff growing up in the country. And fast forward to high school, I struggled in school, period. I hated school. I didn't do very well, you know, C's and D's and failed, you know, most of my grades or classes in grade school. Then in my high school years, I struggled with a drug addiction. So like I got super heavy into drugs, pills, really. I started actually stealing my dad's Oxycontin at 15 years old. I had an event happen in my life that caused a massive emotional ripple, and I didn't know how to deal with that ripple, and it was painful. So I guess subconsciously my brain knew subconsciously, well, dad's been taking these painkillers for 15 years and I'm in some fucking pain right now. So I'm going to go eat those things. So at 15 years old, I was playing some video games and I went into my dad's bedroom. I opened his drawer. I ate 2 morphine pills and I was high as a kite for like hours and played some video games. And it felt good. Right. And that kind of started a downward spiral from 15 to 22. That was literally arguably the worst part of my life, the hardest, most challenging part of my life. I barely made it through high school, wrecked a few cars. I flipped a car on its roof one time because I was so high, like don't know how I didn't go to jail or die multiple times. So fast forward to 22, I realized I had a couple of real bad run-ins with the drugs. Like at 22, I took a bunch of Adderall, snorted a bunch of Coke, and was up for like 3 days. And I ended up like, what's that where you don't sleep and you start to hallucinate? What's that called, Kevin? You're unmuted. Where you like don't sleep and you start to hallucinate. Well, you're hallucinating.
Yeah, you're hallucinating. Yeah.
I'm sleep deprived and I'm starting to get like schizophrenic and freaking out that like something bad's happening, right? So the sun goes down and I'm still drinking coffee. 3 days later, I'm at my dad's house down in French Village and I start freaking out thinking that somebody's going to come and get me, like paranoia. So I lock myself in the bathroom with a 45 caliber pistol on my hip and I'm documenting the whole experience on my phone the whole time, thinking someone's going to come through that door at any point in time. Like there was probably multiple times throughout the night that I held that gun towards the door, like full blown, like crackhead, crazy shit that night. Right. And I'm so blessed to this day that like dad didn't knock on the door. Cause if he would have, I probably would have shot straight through it. I was so out of my mind. So like next day comes around and I'm like, whoa, dude, what are you doing? Cause like in my head, I'm like, this is not what you're supposed to be doing. This is not the life. You're not supposed to be strung out on drugs and end up in jail or dead. So I started seeing a counselor and basically the counselor told me the most profound life-changing words up until this point in time in my life that someone that I revered and respected told me. And she said, David, if you expect to get better, you have to do one of 2 things or both. You have to change your playmates or change your playground. And immediately that spoke to me. I was like, okay, My playmates are unfortunately my dad. My playground is Missouri. So, and I've been this way since as long as I can remember. I'm fucking crazy. Like I will do some radical shit, burn all my ships, and my whole family will look at me like, what is this kid doing with his life? Like just unorthodox shit, but it's always worked for me. So I was like, okay, I'm getting out of Missouri. I'd never really left Missouri but a few times in my life up until that point anyways. So I didn't have a car. So I packed everything in my backpack in a duffel bag. I brought my TV and my Xbox, and I had my cousin drive me over to Oklahoma to stay with some relatives of mine that offered to bring me in. They lived in Edmond, Oklahoma, right next to Oklahoma City on a farm. And I was high the day I left. Like I threw the weed out the window on the way to Oklahoma. Like that was the situation. So I get to Oklahoma. I start working in the oil and natural gas industry almost immediately. And the oil field ain't no joke. Like I don't know how many of you guys have worked in the oil field or construction, but that shit's rough work. Like I see Rich shaking his head. You shaking your head, Rich? I see you, bro. Yeah, so the shit ain't easy, man. Like it ain't easy. Like I was swinging a 16-pound sledgehammer at like frac stacks. Well, I was a wellhead technician, so I'd go out, put the wellhead on the well, build the frac stacks. I'd sit on the location when they were fracking the well, and we do all that. So like I was swinging a Thor hammer. Like I'm talking this fuck. I never seen a hammer so big in my entire life up until this point in time in my life, and it was literally 16 pounds. I'm not exaggerating. That's a heavy hammer. So like. This started cultivating an attitude of responsibility and helped me feel more manly and masculine. And I got off the drugs. About 3.5 years into that, coming up on 2017, 4 years into that, I was getting tired of that shit. And I was looking around and something terrified me. And I was paying attention, looking around at these 50, 55, 60-year-old men in the oil field, old, broke, and broken, bitching about layoffs and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, holy shit, that's me in fucking 30 years. If I don't change something, I'm going to be old and broken down physically and hate my life and be speaking like this. So I didn't like that. So that came into my consciousness. And then like a few weeks later, some wild shit happened. I bought my girlfriend. I've never been very good with authority. So I've never been very good being managed by managers that don't know how to manage a personality, an A-type personality type like myself. So I kind of bucked the system, especially when my managers were stupid and like didn't know, like were putting us in danger and doing dumb shit that like didn't make any sense. So in 2017, I started kind of bucking the system. I bought my girlfriend a 2017 Dodge Charger, brand new, beautiful, black on black, sexy. Right off the lot. And the next day I rock it into work, right? And I'm showing it off to everybody. At the end of the day, these assholes fire me. And I could have caught a charge that day. I was so mad. Like I was standing next to that dude and I'm like, because I knew they did it on purpose. Like you didn't just coincidentally fire me the day I brought a brand new $35,000 car into the, you know what I mean? So now I'm like, I'm standing there and I had for the first time in my life, I had what's called an out-of-body experience, like a premonition. From outside of myself, I was looking at myself standing next to this manager who I wanted to just break down in a lot of different ways. I didn't, but I'm thinking to myself, okay, this is happening. Like I'm watching and looking at myself. I'm 27 years old. And for the first time in my life, I've become consciously aware of myself outside of myself, which is wild. It was a trip. I didn't even realize that could be a thing. Some people call it waking up or whatever. So on my way home, I'm like, whew, okay, what do I do? What am I going to do? And then I started to ask all these questions, and questions are very powerful. Like questions unlock doors and keys into our life. That is just something that is like cannot be spoke about enough. So I'm asking myself these questions like, who am I? Who the fuck am I? I have not been paying attention my whole life. I was strung out on drugs from 15 to 22. So I was anesthetized up in the clouds. And then from 22 to 27, I got caught in the rat race. I never once had thought about who I was, what I wanted, where I was going, what I was going to contribute back to society. Never once until 27. So I'm like, whew, okay. It was heavy. It was cool too. Like at the same time, I just lost my job. I was making like 85,000 a year, but I was like liberated at the same time because I'm like, holy shit, my paradigm had shifted. And now I'm asking myself these questions that are super liberating. So I get home and I'm like, one of the questions was, who am I? I can remember that. I'm like, who am I? Mind you, I'm living now an hour south of Oklahoma City in a mold infested 80-year-old rock home. I'm talking like this, we were in a rough spot. I get home, I jump on, I think the same, it couldn't have been this laptop, but I jumped on my laptop and I'm like, who am I? YouTube that shit. Like, how do you figure out who you are? So I go to YouTube and I'm like, how do you find yourself? And I start watching all these videos, right? This started the process of my awakening and understanding that I was consciously aware now of what was going on. I was in the driver's seat at least a little bit more. It's a very difficult thing to be in the driver's seat all the time. When I say driver's seat, I mean like consciously aware of what's going on. Pure awareness. It's very challenging because your subconscious mind is controlling about 95% of what's going on. So I'm doing all my research. I get a secondary job at a Walmart distribution center. And I'm still doing all my research, right? In this and searching. I'm like, there's got to be more. There's a different way. I'm not doing this whole work, trade time for money for the rest of my life because that shit ain't working out for millions and millions and millions of people. I'm not doing it. So I'm working at Walmart, and this is where Magic's coming in. I know this has been a long story up until now, but this is where Magic comes in. So I'm on Instagram one day, and I see the K8, and I'm like, what's this crazy thing? And this wild Chinese man with this giant quartz crystal is talking about how he's got rain coming out of the sky and like on some wild shit. He's like, I'm making it rain with this thing. And he was serious, totally serious. I'm like, okay, well, that's crazy. And so it came into my life. I did a little research. I understood that it was water. That was it. Poof, out of my life. A couple weeks roll by and I seen it again. And then I asked my mother-in-law, who was a doctor, some kind of doctor. I don't know what kind of doctor, but she's a doctor. So I'm like, okay, she's smart. She understands health, maybe. So I went and asked her about this water, and immediately she wrote it off. You got to worry about that kind of stuff. You know, like we've heard it. You're going to hear it a million times. If you're just getting started, you're going to hear it a million times. Just for those people, in one ear, out the other, and on to the next one, because you're never going to convince them, and it doesn't matter because there's 8 billion people on this planet. So just move to the ones that are interested. It's a better use of your time. So then it went out of my life again. So that's number 2. And then a couple weeks after that, I seen it again on Instagram. It's the reticulator activating system. Anytime you want something in life, you go out. I did a video on this today. It's fucking wild. You want a red car, right? You want to buy this red car, and then you go out and you see the red car everywhere. It's a mechanism in your brain, almost like an algorithm, like TikTok works, that brings to your attention that of which you desire. It's a beautiful thing, right? Because if you lean into it, you can attract to you with effortless, you can attract to you what you want. So I seen it again. And this time I'm like, I call my girlfriend, my ex-girlfriend, girlfriend at the time, I call her up. I just got out of the sauna and I'm like, Tiff, I'm going to get one of these machines and I'm going door to door and I'm going to sell them. And I'd never done sales a day in my life. Never. I'm like, I'm going to go sell these things. And she's like, Dave, if people were doing that, we would know about it. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. So the water goes out of my life for the 3rd time. A couple weeks later, I'm standing. This was one of the most pivotal points in my life. I can remember it. Like I remember the feeling. I remember where I was standing. I remember the emotion. I can remember everything about this moment because I'm standing there in the doorway of this 70-year-old rock mold infested home with brown walls and just broken windows, like just hurting. And Tiffany's laying on the bed behind me and I'm walking out and she goes, you're never going to believe this. And I immediately knew. She did not have to say another word. My soul knew what she was getting ready to say. She goes, it's the water. And I turned around and was like, what? And she said, my girlfriend made $2,000 off selling one of these water systems. And I'm like, boom, let's go. That like something happened inside of me. And I was like, this is it. Okay. All right. Now we're talking. Let's go. So like in my mind and my heart, I'm like, I'm fixing to change, just like shake some shit up. Just watch. In my mind, I knew that clarity, conviction, and confidence that I was going to go wreck house and win at this was there. From the fucking second I knew you could sell these things, it was over. I didn't know how, but it didn't matter because I knew I was going to do it because my current situation was so shitty and I was so tired of it that I was going to make it happen. So we started doing some research. We started finding, like, Tiff was pretty smart. I'll give her credit. Like, I'm grateful for the time I got to spend with her, 9 years. She was like, we need to research and find a good sponsor. We need to find the right person to get into this business with. I'm like, that's a good idea. So we hit this girl up. She didn't respond to us for 3 days. Like, damn, she ain't trying to sell this shit. She's not really trying to hustle this business too hard. I don't know if I want her mentoring me. And then we found Balaj, but we knew Balaj was too high up. We assumed he was too high up, and we weren't going to get the time allocated to us that we needed. So we wanted to find the next best thing, his very good friends. So we're researching and we find Kevin, and I like the way Kevin looks. He's, kind of my style. He's into fitness, this, that, and the other. I watched a couple of his videos. I'm like, yeah, it's him. Let's reach out to him. So we reached out to him, and then boom, we got into it. And now I want to touch on something that's real important, especially if some of you are in here and you haven't gotten your Magic products yet. I was making $2,400 a month at Walmart supporting a family of 3. She was doing nothing, and we had a son, okay? And I was in debt, making, I'm gonna say this again, $2,300 a month, okay? I found $10,000. The money's there. It's the priority to not go get the money is the problem, not the money, because the money's always there. There is a way. If there is a will, you will get the money. And I had such a will. I got to rocked up to Fortune 500 companies and then been like, hey, this is the plan. We're going to get some money. Like, help me get this money. Help me scratch this money up. Fortunately, I didn't have to do that. I went to her grandma. And I told her, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I found. It's amazing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This is what I'm going to do. And this is going to be the result of it. I painted the picture for her, and I made sure she was a part of it, which I ended up buying her a machine. We scratched her some money. One of her birthdays, we flopped her $700 to go to the casino. Like, we took care of grandma. Dave took care of grandma because grandma helped me get into it. So we went to the bank. We got a loan, $10,000. We're in. So we get in, right? We start running the oilfield story ads. Everything's going pretty good. I'm doing my personal development. It might have been rough well, it wasn't that bad. It was like, 3 weeks in, we found Michael Cast, or 4 weeks in, something like that.
Was it that quick? I think it was like a couple months, something like that.
Okay, so like
something like that.
Almost month 2, something like that, which is rare. Like, that doesn't happen all the time, right? But it happened to me. So we found Michael Cast. I'm still working at Walmart. He buys a trifecta. This is how powerful this business is. He buys a trifecta, maybe $1,100. And then this dude goes and sells 2 trifectas in like a 24-hour time frame. 2. So in 24 hours, I know this is a fact because I remember I got $3,300 coming, and it was like in a day. And I ain't making $3,300 in a month at Walmart. I walked into Walmart, and this is where my crazy ass comes off again. I walked into Walmart the next month. I was working weekends, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in a Walmart distribution center, and like stacking and shit. It was crazy. Super hard work. And I walked in, and I'm like, I'm out. I'm done. And I'd been telling these guys about the water and everything, and they were shitting on it. Small minds lead to a small life. And all of them shit on it. And I promise you, there are probably 50% of them 6 years later that are still fucking stacking boxes. And I ain't saying that to shit on them. I'm saying that because small minds will lead to a small life. And you cannot allow that small mind to affect your energy. You cannot allow that to happen. If it's in your life, get rid of it. I don't give a damn who it is. I don't care if it's your mom. And I could talk for hours. I say something, and I'm like, holy shit, I could go down this rabbit hole. I'm going to try and stay on track. Like, I haven't gotten off on any tangents yet. And if any of you guys have watched me for a prolonged period of time, you know, like, my tangents are wild. So anyways, $3,300. I go in there and I'm like, I'm out, bro. I'm done. They're like, you're fucking crazy. You're never going to sell these. Da, da, da. I even pitched the general manager. Pitched him, walked straight into his office, never done sales, just caught him doing that. He didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Pitched him, and this dude, now that I'm talking about it, I'm like, holy shit. Just looking back, just no positivity in his voice, no good luck, you're gonna do great. No, none of that bullshit. Just kind of gave me that energy, like, are you serious right now? Like, you're gonna do this, da, da, da. And I stepped out, walked out, quit my job with $3,300 coming. And I'm like, I'm gonna make this work. There's a book about some like Chinese war general or Japanese world war general. I don't even know if I've read the book, but I heard the term burn your ships. Like, he gets his whole army to the island, And then they all get out on the island, and then he burns all the ships, and he's like, you're either going to win or you're going to die. And that's my attitude. That's been my attitude my whole life. At no plan B. No, it's not happening. At least in my mind, there's no plan B. So I quit, and then we're running the ads, and it was pretty tough for about 7 months after that. So I came out the gate swinging, and it was great. And then after that, it was like tough. And ultimately, I ended up running an ad to Australia, and it blew up. It blew up, and now, 6 years later, here we are. I want to get into some of the like perspectives and personal development. The story could go on for like an hour and a half if I tell the whole entire story. So I don't want to do that because we're only 24 minutes in.
Hold on. Let's take a vote. Let's take a vote. If you want to hear the rest of Dave's story, throw a Y into the thing, and if you want us to move on, put an N.
I want to hear all of it.
Yeah, man, it's fucking nothing but Y's here.
Yeah, keep going.
Okay, cool. Let's go. Okay, so and there were times where I was laying on the couch. I remember a couple times laying on the couch crying because I couldn't figure it out. I wanted it so bad, and we had leads coming in it was nice in 2017, and I couldn't get it figured out, and it was a struggle. It was a struggle. But I'll tell you one thing that I consistently did was the personal development. I did not stop. That was the one, even though everything was shit and failing or it wasn't working, I unwavering like confidence in the fact that if I became more valuable, I would eventually make it. And that's what I did. So every single day, and Kevin's really, really, really good at this. He taught me to like write out your day before the next day, because if you can't see where you're going, how are you going to manifest it? We're just walking in every single day. And I still, unfortunately, sometimes do it to this day. We're walking into the next day, not having any set intention on where we're going and what we're going to accomplish. And yet we have all these goals and dreams and aspirations to accomplish all these things, but we can't see it in our minds. So like I was doing that every single day. And another thing that I was paying very close attention to and putting a lot of effort into was my visualization. So I'd sit in that room all lotused up, legs crossed, eyes closed, lights off. And in my mind, I was envisioning what was about to happen in my mind for days, months. I was doing that. And I struggled for, like I said, 6.5, 7 months. And then in November of, 2017, I had a dream. I cannot make this shit up.
I had a dream. This is a true fucking story. I remember the dream. I remember getting the call. Like, dude, I had a dream. I'm like, you had a dream? He's like, yeah, dude, I had a dream. And I was like, okay, I'll hear it. So I want to see how much you remember. I want to see how much I remember, but I do remember the dream. That's so cool.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. All I can remember is I had a dream about running an ad to Australia and seeing myself in Australia with this massive group of people, right? And I woke up the next day and I'm like, okay, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna run my same oil field story ad to Australia. They gotta have oil fields down there. And we didn't even know at the time. We had no idea, and we ran it. And within like a week or two, it was fast. I know it was fast. We found a kid named Jeremiah Oki. There's another thing about this business. One person can change your life in this business. One person can take shit and do things that you would never. And I'm still like to this day, like, holy shit. I look back at some of the things these guys have done and I'm like, wow, I didn't realize the implications of one person. I did not realize it. I still probably don't realize it because we're still going, you know what I'm saying? So it's still accumulating and compounding. But I found Jeremiah O'Keefe from Western Australia, Perth. Now they're 16 hours ahead. So I was jumping on calls at like 1, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning to accommodate these guys. And that was one of the things Kevin said. He's like, dude, why you want to run an ad to Australia? They're fucking 17 hours ahead of us, bro. That's gonna be tough. Like, I didn't know any of that shit, nor did I care. So I ran it. We found Jeremiah. And he was working in the oil fields. Good guy, like 5 foot nothing, 80 pounds soaking wet, little dude, but like heart of gold. And I convinced him to sell something. What I convinced him to sell his truck or some crazy shit.
Yeah. He was actually working in the mines.
Yeah,
in the mines, and like the reddish fucking dirt. I remember when I first saw him, I thought he had a different hair color and he has like this flowing blonde. But yeah, he had he had like a Toyota 4x4 with a big snorkel on it or whatever.
Yeah. So he did that. He sold something and he got into the business. So I'm like, okay, boom, we got one. And then he runs an ad and Brody Nitro hits his ad.
Let's add something. The ad that got Dave was the same ad that got Jeremiah, which was the same ad that got Brody. Just in case you guys are wondering why story ads, why we always start with the story ad is because it converts almost everywhere if you just modify it a little bit. But yeah, I think it was like within the first week. I think it was one of his first leads was Brody, like right out of the gate.
Yeah, it was wild. So, and he don't know shit. He don't know what he's doing. So I had to jump on a call with Jeremiah and Brody at the same time and talk Brody into it. And I remember, like, I wonder if Brody remembers that night. He was down on his luck. Like, he was drunk, literally drinking on the call and not in good spirits. And I could tell he was like one of those hard-nosed motherfuckers, right? So I got like, you have to like fire meets fire, right? You have to lean into so like wherever somebody's at, you meet them there in sales. So if they're super nice and kind of calm and delicate, you got to come there, right? If they're really rough and edgy and in your face, you got to come there. It's a law, like reciprocity, mirror them, in other words. So I'm mirroring Brody, and somehow or another, he comes up with some money to eventually buy a water ionizer, right? So he buys the water ionizer, and then shit just goes haywire for like a year and a half. Like, we're running the ads and the team's blowing up, and I hit 6A, and like, by the time I had made my first sale to 6A, it was like 12 months. And then before 2 years, I was 6A too. So it's like fucking nuts. It happened like fast, really fast. And then what happened was very, very interesting. Like, I was doing incredible. I was having $20,000 months, $30,000 months. I think I almost had a $40,000 month. Like, I'm telling you, I was walking to the mailbox and there was checks stacked from one side of the mailbox to the other. Like, the whole fucking mailbox stacked up checks. And I'm like, whoo, it's really, really cool. And then something really interesting happened, and I lost my love for the business. I got in my head. There's some like things that happened in my life, and it threw me off course. And to be quite honest, the reason is not important. I don't think it's important for you guys because it's my experience. It happened in my life. And I think explaining it and sharing it would be more of a detriment than it would be a benefit to any of you. So I got off track for a little bit. I never lost my love for the water. Never, not one time, because I'd done enough research on hydrogen-rich alkaline ionized water and seen different things that wasn't going to waver me. You know what I'm saying? So I do want to mention, before all of this happened, right before it all happened, I went down to Australia. So my dream came true. I flew down to Australia and I spoke on stage in front of about 600 people at an event. I think this was before, Kevin. Yeah, it was definitely before.
It was before.
Definitely before. And that was wild. And we're all at this big mansion renting this place out. And there must have been 70 or 80 of them there. And me and my ex-girlfriend and her son stood right like in the middle with all of them lined around the pool. And like, it was just, I envisioned it. I seen it in my mind and amplified my energy knowing that it was going to come to me. And then eventually it came to me, which was totally fucking awesome. It was the coolest thing in the world. So I got to go to Australia. I flew down there twice. It was really cool. I got distracted after that. And kind of fell off. And it was really only for a year and a half. What was that? 2020 is when I stopped.
Yeah, it was, because we were in Cabo, March 2019. And then everything kind of unraveled on
by the end of 2020, I was like looking for something different. So I got into solar sales in 2020. And still, like, I still put in direct sales in 2020, not a very many. I think I made 10 grand in 2020. And then I put a couple in 2021. And I went through a breakup last year, a 9-year breakup, and moved back here to Missouri. I was living in Oklahoma. I forgot the whole part about Hunter. I found Hunter and moved down my whole family down to Texas and helped Hunter get out of the oil field. Like, just crazy shit. Like, you can't make this up. I live my life the way I fucking want to live my life, and no one with no fear of who's going to judge me for what. So like, yeah, I found Hunter. He's in the oil field. He hit my ad and I'm like, let's just move down to Texas and help this dude get out of the oil field and grow his magic business. So we did that shit too. It was really cool. So I did couple sales in 2020, couple sales in 2021. And as I was going through my healing process last year and meditating and reading and learning myself again, after 9 years of being in a relationship, I really started to like ask, Kev can tell you, like I was like in there and out of there, like little bits, building a little bit of momentum. This year, it started last year, October. I started to get a little momentum. I was making a sale every month, October, November, December.
Because I remember seeing like these random sales coming up. Because here's the thing, and this is really important. We're getting into sales comp and stuff. So Dave had no Ukon going at the time, and we all know the golden rule, which is you never cancel your Ukon. So I was getting all of these Ukon sales, and so I'd always look, and I was like, okay, I know they have these, there's a X amount of Ukon sales that always come up, and then I start seeing machine sales. And I remember everybody, because like, when Dave was on top, he was like Mike Tyson, like he was like the guy. And then we went through this dip, and everyone was always like, hey man, what happened with Dave? And I said the same thing every single time. I said, don't worry about Dave. Dave's coming back. And we're like, oh, no. I said, don't worry. I never lost faith once, because I knew the true character of this guy, and I knew this sort of stuff happens. And I went through a bit of a dip. It wasn't the same thing, but it was a bit of a dip. And I was just waiting for this. And then some sales started to come. And then I finally got the message. And then everything was like, yeah, October of last year, that was when I was kind of getting into my investing thing. And everything started to come. And like, you just feel like you were feeling like the Australia. I'm like, it's coming back. It's not ever gone. It was never gone. It was just away for a bit, you know what I mean?
And it's, and that's really like, it's important, I think, that we talk about this for a second, because we're all on our own journey, and sometimes things have to happen to build us the character to get to where we need to go for the next chapter. And this is what I was been telling Kevin. I'm like, bro, you think shit was wild when we first started. I got 6 years of personal development and a whole bunch of bad shit, like rough experiences that I've grown from. Shit's going to be wild this time. Cause like -3 is and this is why I was getting so excited, is because I'm making these sales and my bonus checks were coming in. And I'm like, I'm making $2,000 a month off one sale in reference to my bonuses. That's an extra 24 a year, not counting my quarterly. So that's an extra 30, 40, maybe 50 G's a year for making one sale. And I'm only 6A2. What the fuck does that look like at 6A2-3? You know what I'm saying? Plus, I still love the water, and I've grown so much in reference to sales and persuasion and the art of influence and all that good stuff. I love it. It's just exudes. I love it. So we got ramped back up, man. And now we're here, like a sale every single month for literally since October, November of last year. Not booming as hard as we were, but the momentum it takes. That's one thing I want to say, especially if you're new. It's like momentum's a real thing. This shit's not going to just happen in a month or two. It's not. Like I stuck it out for 7-8 months, and it might not even happen 7-8 months. But as long as you continue to do the personal development and you continue to add value to yourself and apply that value in your life, it will eventually happen. Something has to move, right? So now we're here. It's 5/12, May 12th. At 7:37, and that was a fucking 40-minute story. So I hope that you guys, well, we got 41 comments in the chat, so it must have been good. I appreciate you guys so much.
Do you want to open up the questions?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we got questions. If there's any, I know someone has. I got a million questions, but if anyone has a question you want to ask Dave, go ahead and drop it in the chat here, and we'll bang out the next 20 minutes or however long we want to do this. We'll take a sec here. I'm sure.
Thanks, Jacqueline. Thanks, Emily. Appreciate you, Adrian. Sheesh. So many comments. Which ad? Oh, you know the ad, Steve. It's probably the same ad you're using, homie. The ads are on my page. Go check it out. Why have a why? Did I miss a question yet? Do we have any? We don't have any questions yet.
I got tons of questions.
I got a question here, man.
Oh yeah. All right, give her.
You know what? Like I could really relate to your story, Dave. And it's like I feel that I could relate. You know what I mean? It's just like I don't know. It's just my wife and I, we just had a kid, and it's like we haven't really told anybody, but I just literally found out about this yesterday. But like my wife's pregnant again, and so it's
Number 2.
Yeah. So it's like, no, man, I got like 4. So that's 18.
Four,
So,
boy.
Shit.
I mean,
Okay.
so that's like, yeah. So, but I know in my mind that like big things are going to happen. I already know that. I see it. And it's just like, I can relate to the visions because it's like, I get visions too. I get visions of being on stage speaking and really getting recognition for things that, you know, that I did. So it's just like, when I hear your story and, you know, like I see, you know, kind of like what you were, you know, like you just tough it out. You just continue to keep showing up every single day and eventually it's going to happen. I could totally relate to that shit, man. It's like when you were talking, I could see it and I could see it for myself. So I just wanted to not necessarily say it as a question, but just more as a, you know, just thanks for, you know, sharing that story because that gives a little bit of inspiration, a little bit of hope. And, you know what I mean? It's awesome.
Thanks, Steve. I appreciate that, man. I put my head down. I turned the camera off and put my head down before this call. And I said, I just want one person to be so fucking excited and see the potential that they go on and fucking tear it up. So I appreciate you sharing that because it means a lot, man. Lisa and Rich, what's your daily method of operation? My DMO is pretty, I don't know, interesting. So every day I get up, and some of you might, like, this might make sense to some of you if you're doing this stuff, if you're doing what you should be doing. I get up and I immediately start saying thank you. When my feet hit the fucking floor, I don't even, sometimes, some mornings I don't even know what I'm saying thank you for, but it's coming out of my mouth. It's, my feet hit the floor. Thank you. My feet go through my shorts. Thank you for these shorts. My feet open the door. Thank you for my hands opening these doors. Thanks for my ability to open this door. Brushing my thank you. I'm thank youing all the way. And then what I do is I load up on minerals. So it's vitally important that you're putting minerals in your body. And the reason being is because minerals are electrical. Your body is electrical. Your body is a bioelectrical fucking battery, literally with trillions of cells that are negatively charged with electricity, negative 25 millivolts of electricity. Hence why this shit is so important, because it's got electricity in it. Imagine that. So electricity is important. Minerals are loaded with, they're negatively charged. So I start ingesting minerals. If any of you are interested, I can send you the links afterwards in reference to my protocol for the minerals that I ingest. I'm ingesting the minerals. Then I wake up just a little bit, 5 minutes or so, and then I immediately go sit down. And here recently, I've been doing the magic for the last 30 days. I sit down, I immediately start gratitude within like the first fucking thing that I do, because I notice how easy it is to like get off. Like one thing can trigger your mind in the morning, and the whole day is like climbing Mount Everest to get back to a sense of joy, peace. You know what I mean? Like just bliss, happy. It's so hard. So I start with the gratitude. Once I'm done with my gratitude, I do breath work. This is super powerful. So I'll do 20 minutes of deep fucking breath work. And I'm talking some wild shit where I'm like, breath of fire. Like if someone was watching me, they didn't know anything about breath work, they'd be like, this dude is high. What has he got going on? And I'll do that for 20 minutes. Some days I'm feeling so good and I start to feel some things come on, some shifts in energy. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to stay in this. Mind you, my eyes are closed the whole time and I'm playing meditation music. It just helps me amplify my energy. So I'll do that for 30, 40 minutes. Some mornings I have some incredible releases, like trauma from the past, energy that's stuck in the body. I'd encourage you, if that was weird to hear, energy stuck in the body, to go watch the documentary called Emotion. It's on Gaia. It's a documentary about like how emotion gets trapped in the body and causes sicknesses, et cetera, et cetera. So some mornings, like I have some wild releases. So I do the breath work. And then I'll drink the rest of my minerals, get ready, brush my teeth like everybody else do. And I go to work. I do 45 minutes of stair steppers at the gym. And then basically the rest of the day is like right now, I'm a 1099 contractor. I do in-home sales as well to fund Enagic, fund the ads and everything. So for right now, I might have an appointment at 11 or 3 or 5 or whatever. In between that time, I'm focused on this shit. Like I'm sitting in front of this computer. Today I did 3 TikTok videos. You go to my TikTok, I did 3. It took me an hour to make all 3 and I posted them at 3, 4, and 5. I got a whole book here. Well, it's not a whole book, but I got my own. I bought a $300 course on TikTok. I'd encourage you, if you're not doing this yet and you're open to putting yourself out there, the engagement right now on TikTok is incredible. It's like Facebook 5-6 years ago in reference to building an audience. Attention equals money. Attention equals money. The more attention you have, the more success you're going to have in this business, right? So like today I made 3 TikTok videos, and then like I'll run ads, or I'll post in my I'm all over the fucking place. I got more energy in my body right now than I've had in decades. And I swear it's a combination of the minerals, the grounding, and probably a few different things. But anyways, I'm posting, put myself out there, because the more people see you, the more they're going to remember that you're that person with the opportunity. You know what I'm saying? And this is the perspective I wanted to, before I get off that. So rest of the daily method of operation, then I'll go to the gym again. I go back home. I make sure I read. And I also take 2 cold showers a day and drink a gallon of water. I don't eat any processed foods. It's all really very, very clean, except for one time a month. What else do I do? I study crypto at least 5 minutes out of the day. I'll post my daily method of operation in the group and later, so you guys know exactly what I'm doing every single day. But one thing I wanted to touch on was 2 things. In the beginning, and I'll get to some of these other questions. We still got 15 minutes. In the beginning, I ran into a lot of people that, especially on my own team, that didn't want to act like, or speak like, move like they were successful. Does that make sense? In reference to them speaking online, like the stories. And you can ask Kevin, I was fucking broke, half stupid, living in a fucking mold infested rock home in southern Oklahoma. No money to my name, no nothing. But I was walking around like, this shit's gonna work. And on my videos, that's where we were going. I knew where we were going, and I was speaking like it. And it's not about faking it until you make it. It's about seeing your future and embodying it and stepping into it now, because there's no such thing as past or future. It's all here right now. There's no difference or separation from anything in this universe. You are I, and I am you. It's all the same. When you embody this and start to understand this, then it's easy to fucking manifest, because I am the millionaire with the $10 million yacht. And now I'm just now really starting to embody this at 32. And I am the pissed off dude driving down the road that's flipping me off. And the reason why this helps you is because you can understand that we're all made of the same energy. And now I'm off on one of these Dave tangents, but if you can understand that we're all made of the same energy, then it's easy to understand that we're all the same. We are all one. There is no difference. And I'm not super religious, but I'm throwing Jesus in here because he said it best. I am that I am. So anytime I get pissed off, like today I was driving down the highway and I had my blinker on, and these people wouldn't fucking pass me or slow down. And I'm like, finally I was like, poof, and I just hit that bitch and like swung over. And the lady in the truck's like throwing her fingers up, and I got irate. Like I was ready to like kick teeth in. And I'm not a like violent person. There's some kind of weird energy going on inside me. I've had some paradigm shifts in the last couple of weeks, and I've noticed this like anger coming up when I'm driving. Really, really weird. I'm trying to get that figured out. But anyways, what I do is I'm like, I am that I am. When I notice I'm pissed, I look at her and I say, I am that I am. And I see myself in her. And immediately upon doing that, I can't be mad anymore, because that's me. And I understand and I know that I've been that before. I am that. I have been that person that's been like, yeah, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? So how am I supposed to get mad at that? I am that. And you can do the same thing with everything. So when you embody that, you can attract it easier, because you believe and you understand that you are all things and all things are connected. You know what I'm saying? Like it's so fucking profound. I got way off on a tangent, and I'm not. Oh yeah. So act like you're going to win. No, you're going to win. Speak like you're going to win. And fuck anybody else that's got a problem with it. Period. Like, love the ones that love it, and understand and love the ones that don't, but keep them at a distance, because they're not going to be the ones paying your electric bill. They're not going to be the ones flying you down to Australia first class. And they're sure in the hell not going to be the ones patting you on the ass saying a good job. So don't worry about that. It doesn't matter. The other thing I want to talk about, if we got any other questions, I'll get into it. What is your TikTok? dealing with prospects. This is one that I really wanted to touch on. Kevin and I were talking about this before, like the follow-up. Kevin told me the other day how he deals with his prospects. And I was thinking about this, like looking back at 2017 in reference to following up with my prospects. And I understand in the beginning, you kind of want to take anybody on, and I get that. So I understand that. And I'm not saying it's wrong by acting this way. But what I do want to say is there's a different perspective that you can apply to speaking to your prospects pertaining to the follow-up. And I've been practicing it and it works, especially for the fellas. I don't know how it would work with the ladies. I don't know how that would work. So guys, this is for you. The prospects that don't do the shit, they write you, you tell them what to do, and you don't hear from them for 2 days. Get in their ass. Not hatefully, but just get in their ass. Don't, oh, did you get to watch the videos? Or, you know, how did you, like, that was like, what's working for me really well right now is being like, hey, yo, bro, like, you reached out to me because you want your life to change, right? Well, that shit's not going to happen if you don't do anything, man. And I don't have time to be twisting nobody's arms or want it for you. I'm here to help you make this happen. I'm going there with you or without you. But I want you to come with me. So take 15 minutes out of your day, because you want to know why. 15 minutes. If you, I was telling a bunch of people this morning. I'm like, bro, watch the video. There's the richest people on this planet can take 15 minutes in one day if it's a priority. And if it's not a priority, you and I are not going to be a good fit for each other. I told 5 people that today. 4 of them wrote me back. Okay, bro, I'll watch the video. So you're like, hey, motherfucker, like, get this done in a nice way. So figure out your own way to say it, and don't be hateful and condescending or degrading. You don't have to do none of that. Just let them know, hey, yo, if it's a priority, you're going to do it. And if not, that's all good, bro. Keep it pushing. I'm like, it's all good. You know what I'm saying? And maybe it's easier for me to do this now because I have like more confidence and I know I can make the money in this, that, and the other. But if you can try to embody that right now, because that energy, people can feel that energy. People know if you're like desperate for them. They can feel that shit. But if you're just like, fuck it, I've been working this 9 to 5 my whole life, a couple more months ain't gonna hurt, and you speak to people like, you know what I'm saying? It'll really do dividends for you. It's working phenomenal. So I just wanted to thank Kevin for that, because I didn't have that perspective and that's the thing. We can always keep growing, right? Like, so keeping an open mind and being willing to be taught is very important. And there's been points in time in my life where I wasn't like that. My ego was out of control, I will admit, but I try to, you know what I mean, listen when I can. Kevin, did you have something?
Oh no, I just I love that though. It's I always go back to Marcus Aurelius, who was asked when he was walking at 65 years old with a stack of books where he was going, and he said he was going to learn everything he didn't know already. And this was the emperor, like the philosopher king emperor of the greatest time in Roman history. And there was the guy that literally he was godlike, and he was still on the hunt for knowledge because he understood he didn't know everything. And that's a very important part of our business is letting go of the ego of I'm good enough already or whatever. And I was talking actually earlier when we got on today, and I know I've been pumping up Adrian quite a bit here, but you know, it's when you see the way Adrian's acting and the way that he's showing up, you can tell he's doing it for the right reasons. He's doing it for the growth. He's not doing it for the money. He's doing it for the growth. And when you do it for your own personal sort of selfish reasons of your own personal growth, people want to be around that sort of energy because they see you moving, they see you progressing. And it's a lot easier to grab onto someone's hands who's your buddy or your friend or even just a lead that comes online because you get along with them. Then, like you were saying, reaching out to a Balazs or someone who's already making $10 million a year or whatever the case is. So it's that constant growth. And, you know, that's why I'm always reading and I'm always sharing my stuff online, because I want people to understand that, like, you know, the money is one thing, but seeing yourself grow as a person, that lasts forever. And that's why I really feel we're an amazing group. We're one of the only ones left. In case anyone's wondering, every other team, every other group's pretty much gone. And we're still staying strong, man, because we like to focus on the things that I think are important.
Let's see. Emily asks, how many hours do I sleep? Oh, I don't know. I sleep on a grounding mat too, which has been a game changer. I feel like, You plug it into the wall, and the mat emits negative ions, and like it's pretty fucking cool. So I've only been sleeping for last night. I fell asleep at 10 and woke up at 6, so I get a healthy 8 hours. I ain't one of these guys that's like 5-6 hours, and I've always liked my sleep. It's what you do with the time that you're awake. I like to sleep, and if my body needs to sleep 8 hours to feel like productive and recovered and all that, then I'm gonna get my 8 hours. So
Yeah,
8 hours.
I agree with that. I'm a huge fan. I was the 5 a.m. getting up, getting after it, and then I was like, it catches up to you, especially when I was doing the 75 hard. It was up at 6, first run, and then you get burnt out, and what you think you're getting after it, but then you're gassed at 10 a.m. and and what I found was that the mental fog, and once I can't focus, I'm pretty much useless. So but yeah, I'm a huge advocate of sleep. Everyone thinks when you quit your job, the greatest thing isn't going to work, but it's actually sleeping in. It's just not having to get up and crawl out of bed. It's making money, traveling the world, that's great. But when you just wake up naturally and you have nowhere to go to, like that was the reason why I got out of my job. Everyone thinks it's because I wanted money. No. I just hated the first thing, wake up, okay, I got to go somewhere. Within like half an hour to an hour, I'm like, nah, I don't want to do that. That just ain't for me. But
Right.
I got a question for you. Well,
Yeah.
I think it'd probably be a good cap to this. Is what do you see yourself creating in the next 12 months to 12 years?
Oh shit! You got me off. You got me off guard there on the 12-year one. In 12 months, which is a year, my goal is to create at minimum 2 more 6As with my own personal help, and that's not even like manifesting somebody that comes in and just does some wild shit. So like that's open. You know what I'm saying? But like through my effort and what I will accomplish in 12 months is I'm going to help 2 of my downline get to 6A, which will push me to 6A2-2. So what I'm doing for that is an incredible amount of action every day. Every chance I get, I'm shooting another ad. Like I'm running. Can I share my screen?
Yeah, give me one second here.
Like, just so you guys know, I'm not totally full of shit, because sometimes I do exaggerate a little bit. I'll show you my let me know when I can. It's not
Yeah, it should be
oh,
good.
there it is. So this is my ads manager. Okay, this is just within the last couple weeks that I've been running ads. So I ran 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Those all got rejected, but that's not the point. The point is I shot them and I did the work to put them up there. 13. Here's a 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 20 ads in like 2 weeks. I'm not fucking around. We're going 6A2-2. It will happen. It is already done. Now I just have to put in the work, right? So a massive amount of action every single day to try and acquire the leads, because if you're not getting the leads, it's going to be a slow go, and that's fine. If you're in the beginning of your journey, be kind to yourself, do the personal development. It's just a part of the process. But if you've been doing this a while and you don't know why you're where you want to be, and you're not talking to a lot of people, it's a simple mathematical equation. If you ain't running through people to talk to about the business, you ain't going very far very quick, in my opinion, right? So I'm trying to find a couple of ads that just go and start funneling through some people. So that's 12 months. And then obviously in 12 years, I would put me at 42. Man, I got some big goals. I would like to, at 42, within the next 2-3 years, retire my mom 100%. Like that's the top of my list, to retire, make sure mom doesn't have to work another day in her life. That's the very top of my list. And then obviously if I'm able to do that, I'm fucking stupid rich, right? So like I got lots of money at that point in time. 6A2-4. So I'm shooting for 6A2-4 because like if you shoot higher than where you want to go, you'll put in more effort and get there faster. As opposed to shooting like just right there, you might not put in as much effort to get there. It might take you longer. So overestimate, overshoot where you're going. But man, I want to, just what everybody wants. I want to have a strong connection to God. I want to have incredible relationships that make me feel like just euphoric and high that I know these people and I'm having these experiences, you know, and I want to be able to impact millions of people. Like I've always had, from the time I can remember, I've only ever had one dream. I've only ever had one vision, and that's me standing at a podium with a sea of people as far as I can see in front of me. That's the only thing I've ever imagined. So I would like to impact millions of people. Right. And I think this is inherent throughout the human consciousness and psyche. Like we all just want to, at some level, want to help and give back and lift each other up, because we know that's what gives us the most feeling. And that's what we're searching for, is the feeling. We're not searching for the money or the house or the car or whatever. We're searching for the way that that's going to make us feel. So I'm set to make sure that I eliminate most of the distractions that I have that are not allowing me to move forward in life. Like I banned myself from the casino a couple of weeks ago. If any of you guys didn't see that, I was a big casino goer. I spent probably at least $500,000 at the casino in the last 10 years. I started going to the casino in Oklahoma at 22, and I like the slots. And I had a couple people tell me that that's a problem, bro. You've got a fucking problem. How'd you make $250,000 last year and you don't have $10,000 in your bank account? And whenever somebody that I respected told me that, I was like, whoa, yeah, I guess I got a problem, you know? And then I had a lawyer tell me the very next day, he's like, where's all your money at? And I'm like, well, I guess it's the casino. And he's like, oh, so you got a gambling problem. I'm like, fuck. Yeah, I guess I got a gambling problem. So I banned myself from the casino. I'm doing things that like with this self-awareness, I see the things that are slowing me down and stopping me, and I'm eliminating them from my life. It's very, very, very powerful. And if you got anybody in your life that you really love and respect the keyword, see if they'll sit down with you and you can have an open conversation about what they see you doing. They're going to have some pretty good insight into your life as well, right? So somebody close to you that you respect, and ask them, make sure they're somewhat successful as well, because they have to be somewhat successful, but ask them, is there anything that you see me doing in my life that might not be something that is respectable, or that might not be something that's allowing me to become more successful and make more money, or hindering my health or whatever? And when someone that you love and respect tells you that they don't respect something that you're doing, it hits fucking home, way more home than anybody else telling you. And sometimes we're not calling each other on our bullshit. But we don't just openly invite people to call us on our bullshit. That's not fun. The ego does not want that to happen ever. But when you do it, a powerful thing happens. You become very aware of something that's hindering you, and then you can pivot and move as a result of it. I know I was way off, Kev, on a tangent, but I don't have to, I'll be honest, man, I'm putting all that together. My 6 month is done. My 12 month is halfway there, in reference to writing it down. Kevin reminded me again, like, bro, you got to see where you're going. You got to get excited. Cause for me, it's like, I make all this money, and I was struggling in the job that I was doing. And I was struggling because it's just money, and I wasn't attaching anything to the money. And I couldn't figure out why. And Kevin's like, well, it's because, you can make the money. That part's done. Like, whatever. So it's a couple $100,000 a year. You can do that. It's not that exciting anymore. You have to attach something to it. So I've got the 6 month and the 12 month done, but man, that 12 year, you got your 12 year, bro?
I got an idea. Yeah, I do have an idea. But I can't fly out of the country right now, so it's kind of put on hold for a bit. I mean, but yeah, it's there's some big plans, man. Some nice land on either lake or ocean. I've been looking for a helicopter's license, but I think that might be transitioning to a pilot's license for a fixed wing, just because you can carry a lot more and more passengers. I didn't realize you can't even take a set of golf clubs on a helicopter. So I was like, oh, that's kind of defeats the purpose. But I think I definitely want to get like stupid good at the piano. That's definitely one of my goals, to be like so good that people are like, dude, I know that guy. And then I want to work with animals. I think, like, when I really think of like my long-term, like what is going to make me the happiest, it's going to be working with animals, cats, dogs, something, man. There's not a thing on the planet that brings me more joy than a dog. Honestly,
so cool.
Like, seriously, I talk about it right now. I'm like, like, it's just, that's my thing. And I think, like, what would be the one thing, if I could fly from my ranch that's on the ocean to this place where I got to play with dogs all day and made a ton of money while having my magic business crushing in the background and tons of liters, then yeah, that's pretty much the ideal for me. So And then if I can get out of this country, buy a castle on a mountain in Switzerland, that's still definitely high on the priority list. So yeah, good stuff, man. And this is what, it's funny because as you're going through your story and like the emotion you put out is just like, I'm sure I speak for everybody. It's just captivating, man. Like you really can feel the energy, and it's, how you were saying, like one person can have this ripple effect. And, as you're talking about Jeremiah, that's me thinking of you. And when a couple of you guys, obviously you guys know Brody, and then Brody, he has a team, Brent Amali, who was on about a month ago. And these teams keep multiplying. And I got a message from Brody. I think I shared it with you. And he was like, hey man, like I just bought a property in Port Douglas with my dad. And he's like, you might not understand this, but the ripple effect you had from making that decision. Like if I didn't go to the oil field, if I didn't go through the pain of losing my job and feeling like a loser and literally being at the lowest point in my life, and then deciding that like, that's not the man that I want to be, and like start myself on this journey with, I had no idea what was going to happen. I had no idea we'd go online. I had no idea what was going to happen other than 6A. I knew I was going to hit 6A. That was the one thing I'm like, I can hit this. Like it was the realistic goal. Everyone says dash 3, and yes, dash 3 is it's on its way. I got a couple ways it's coming, but it's definitely on its way. But my first goal was like, I got to hit 6A. But the funny thing is my biggest goal, which was 6A, it's like the actual thing that you're looking for is at 4A, which is only 40 sales. So I'm at like, oh, I got to get to 100 sales, 40 sales in. I was like, yo, now I'm out. Like I'm out of my job now. And then everything just like, once you realize that you can do it, anyone here that sold a trifecta before, you have a solo trifecta, it's coming. As soon as you sell a trifecta and the money comes in and you hold that money and you take it to the bank and you realize you didn't go to your job for this, something just, it clicked in my mind. And I was like, that's it. It's the only thing I'm doing. Everything is second. And I just held that. And like what you said, I walked around, I talked to everybody. I had people at work telling me like, I don't want to hear about your machine again. I was going to like the doctor's offices and the gyms, and like I was bugging all my friends. And the funny thing is, all the ones that told me to go, kick rocks, they're in the business. You know what I mean? Like they came in either for the health or for the taxes, or they just saw my development and they get, dude, I'm doing the same thing 10 years later and you're still crushing it. But yeah, man, like I'm so beyond grateful for this business. And a lot of you out there, you maybe you do understand, but just please, like what you do is so important, not just for your life, but like the people's lives that you're going to change, the relationships you're going to build, the friendships you're going to have that are going to last for a lifetime. They're going to make your life so much easier, more fulfilling. And then when you get the love and gratitude from people, it's stuff money can't buy. So I think I speak for everyone when I say thank you so much for coming on and laying some fire down for us. And if you leave the group with one final thought, what would you say?
I would say that to give you the energy, the drive, the motivation that you need to get to where you need to go, you have to fall in love with the product. You have to fall in love with what the product can do, whether it's on a monetary standpoint or a health standpoint. You have to get your entire physiology to be so excited about the implications of what this machine can do for somebody else's life that it will drive you to where you need to go. It was what I had. It's what I still have. It's and these parting words are really to answer your question, Taylor, if you're still on Facebook. That's why I'm still going, because this product, I'm big into my health, right? This product is the best thing I've ever seen, and it still remains to be. And I've done so much research. In 6 years, I've had so many people try to talk me out of it, try to prove me wrong. You cannot prove 50 years of peer-reviewed research on molecular hydrogen wrong. That's older than all of us. Most of us. 50 years. Sorry, Tom. I realized
Tom, it's so funny.
Sorry, bro. That was the blonde coming at me. But anyways, I love you, man. You can't prove that wrong. It's 5 decades. No one can tell me that it's not the best on earth. That's what I believe. So like that belief keeps pushing me, carrying me. I've sold a lot of shit. I'm a gangster salesman. I love it. I'm good at it, right? I've sold solar. I've sold so much shit. I couldn't even rattle off all this stuff. And every time I get bored, you want to know why? Because I don't believe in what I'm selling. I get bored with it. I get bored because it's not making that big of an impact. Does that make sense? This is transformative. This makes the biggest impact that I've ever seen, which is what drives me forward. And what you have to, if you haven't found it yet, try to attach an emotion to what this product could do for somebody's health. And the way that you can do that is to find stories, watch videos. You know, for me, I already believed in it, but along my journey, when I was in Australia, I was standing in front of a 70-year-old Australian man after I got done speaking on stage in front of, 500-600 people. And he come up to me and tell me his story about Parkinson's disease. Parkinson's disease. One of the popes died from Parkinson's disease. If that shit was curable, you would think the Pope would have like the lowdown on how to fix that shit, right? And I'm not like, I know we can't make medical claims. This is what the man was telling me. So he walks up to me and he's telling me his story, and he's got Parkinson's and his hands are so bad he can't feed himself. And his wife was standing right next to him. And his wife's telling me that she was having to feed him. He gets one of these machines, he drinks, and down there it's like liters. In Canada, it's like liters. We do weird, our shit's weird here. It's gallons, right? So I don't know. It was like a gallon or something. He drinks the water. And within 3 hours, he said he felt funny. So he walked to the bathroom and put his hand out. And his hand was straight as a board. The Parkinson's was gone. Gone. I was like, I got chills just saying it. I'm like, what? That's supposed, like, that shit doesn't just happen. It's Parkinson's disease. You die from that. You get it and you die from it, right? So when he told me that, that's the kind of shit that like, yep, I'm in the right spot. I'm good with this water. You know what I'm saying? And then the understanding, like, so I'm gonna go a little bit more here. Because I really hope this helps. Because this is the driver, this is the motivator, right? Another motivation for me is the understanding that the collective consciousness around water is trash. The collective do not understand how vitally important water is. When I say collective, I mean the 8 billion people on this planet. Collectively, the majority don't, especially in America and Canada. They're like numb to it, just zombies. They're not paying attention. This is amazing for us because eventually that collective consciousness is going to continue to rise. People are starting to understand that fluorinated municipal water is trash, right? So they don't drink that anymore. Rarely do you hear somebody say they drink tap water, right? It's rare. So now people are at bottled water, and most people understand that to a certain degree, bottled water is not the most healthy for you. They have a slight understanding of it. Then you have another small subgroup of people that are getting into like bottled alkaline water, right? But that's a small subgroup. And then there's us at the very top with the hydrogen-rich alkaline ionized water, and we're ready for them because they're coming, and it's going to hit critical mass. And Balazs did a post on this. I loved it. I watched his video. I think it was his last live that he did in the GPM group, and he was talking about this exact thing that keeps him motivated and keeps him going, and why everybody should be excited is because we haven't yet hit critical mass on the product standpoint. Once people start to understand molecular hydrogen and active oxygen, it's going to be shooting fish in a barrel. Like literally shooting fish in a barrel, because they're just going to be coming out of everywhere to buy one of these machines, especially since the water is getting worse. Like these multi-billion-dollar conglomerates are buying up portions of land, and like water is the next like commodity. They're doing it right now. So we're in the right spot. It's coming. The golden years are coming. Like this shit's gonna be wild, like wild. So that's the product standpoint, right? Now, if you can't attach to that, check your pulse first. The second thing,
man, I was not expecting that.
The other thing that I would do is the business. So look at the stories, get amped up about what people have done. I'm a nobody from nowhere, Missouri, born and raised on a dairy farm, strung out on drugs for 7 years of my life and barely graduated high school. And I touched down in Australia twice with no college education, twice. Canada, Mexico, all over the United States. That's pretty cool shit. Some people will live their whole lives and never know what it feels like to go all the way on the other side of the world and have a plains wheels touch down in a different realm. That shit's a different realm down there. When you hit Australia, you're like, whew, Dorothy, we ain't in Kansas anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're somewhere else. It's pretty cool. Maybe I was just feeling a lot of gratitude whenever that happened, because I'd always wanted to go to Australia, even as a little kid, because I watched that Disney movie, The Land Down Under, with the two little rats. I don't know if you guys watch that Disney movie, but like, I wanted to go. I've always wanted to go to Australia. That's probably why I had the dream and ran the ad. But like, so attach yourself to what the business and the money can do by feeding into the stories and paying attention to stories to increase that level of belief. Attach to one of those two things at a deep level, and it'll drive you to go all the way. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for showing up. I'm really grateful for you guys showing up. I really am. Like, thank you. Thank you for giving me an hour and 15 minutes of your time. Thank you so much.
Wow. We're going to have to cut this up into a million little things, man. And there's some content here. You absolutely killed it, man. I expected nothing less. So thank you so much, man. I'm so glad that you're back into the game and you're so focused as you are. And I think I speak for everyone when I say thank you so much for sharing. So right on. Well, everyone, thank you so much for coming. We'll see you again on Tuesday for Tech and Ads. And if you guys don't have Dave's links or anything, we'll drop it in the group and make sure you guys link up. And other than that, man, thank you so much.
Thank you.
See you guys. Bye.
Love you, Dave.
Love
Thank
too,
you.
bro.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate